Hello, Command! This is Captain Blue Dude of the Starship Explorer C-50. We've crash-landed on a previously unexplored planet in the Orion system called, just give me a minute here. Here we go, Planet Ear. But it says Ear here. Oh, okay, fair enough. It's a weird name for a planet, but whatever. So this is slog number 1, exploring this strange new world, Earth. But where exactly is Earth? Earth is a tiny little blue rocky world, 3 planets away from its single star referred to as the Sun. A yellow dwarf about halfway through its life cycle, it's roughly around 4.5 billion years old, comprising of a hydrogen core that should continue to burn for at least another 5 billion years, after which it will probably become a red giant and engulf most of the planets within the inner solar system. The inner solar system. That's a nice little segue. So this solar system is made up of 2 main sections, the inner system and the outer system. Moving out from the Sun, we have Mercury, a small grey planet made up of silicate rocks and dust. Its temperature is a toasty 427 degrees Celsius, or 800 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, and a slightly more chilly minus 170 degrees Celsius, or minus 279 degrees Fahrenheit during the night. I'm getting cold just thinking about that. Venus, a reddish-brown planet, once thought to harbor life in its distant past and even today, possibly in its poles, according to the earthy scientist people here. Apparently, it suffered a worldwide runaway greenhouse effect, ending in a hellish landscape that we can see today, covered in volcanoes. Next one out is the Earth, but we'll skip this one for now and move on to Mars. Known to Earth as its sister planet, Mars has a distinct red colour due to an iron oxide within its soil. Iron oxide is basically that weird rusty stuff that appears on metal when you leave it outside in the rain too much. That happens to me. My bike always gets rusty. I hate that thing. You have to use like lemon and salt to try and get it off. It works eventually, but yeah. Anyway, moving on. Again, this planet is thought to have harbored life in its past due to a carved-out terrain signifying possible rivers and even oceans. Dividing up the inner and the outer systems is an asteroid belt. Basically, this is the leftover junk from the formation of the solar system. It mainly consists of ice and rocks that has fallen into its own orbit around the Sun. The outer solar system, and the biggest entity on this list, Jupiter. A huge gas giant, meaning it has no solid surface, measuring in at 43,440.7 miles around. It has a shade of brown, red, and white. Its most defining attribute is its giant red spot, a massive storm that has been raging for around 600 years. It's so big, it could fit 3 Earths inside. Next up is my favorite, because it's pretty. Saturn, a yellowy-brown gas planet that has these awesome rings, made up of billions of tiny pieces of ice particles. Generally, these are quite thin, measuring from a tiny 1 centimeter to 10 meters. These rings, unlike the asteroid belt, are flat, and the reason for this, in the simplest of terms, is that each individual particle orbits Saturn like a tiny moon or a satellite, and they constantly crash into each other, cancelling out each other's orbit, and over a period of time they flatten out into this sort of disk, which is what we see here. Okay, next up we have Uranus? The hell? Well, that's what I said, Uranus. Now, that's a weird name for a planet. What's next? Planet Scrotum? So, this one is an ice giant. 80% of its mass is a fluid mix of water, methane, and ammonia ice. Unlike any of the other planets, Uranus is tilted on its side, most probably from an impact from an object the size of Earth many, many years ago, and you can tell this by the way that its rings revolve around the planet. Finally, there is Neptune, the smallest of the ice giants. It's made up of layers of hydrogen, helium, and methane. with the surface being made of a water ammonia and methane ice. Also, there is another body called Pluto. It used to be a planet, but the scientists here reckon that it's too small to be classed as one. What do you think, Jerry?
I don't care what anyone says. If it can be a planet, it can be a planet again. Planet, 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 planet.
Yeah, you tell him, Jerry. So, that brings us to the end of this solar system. But, if we move out even further, you can see where its position is compared to the larger universe, named the Milky Way. Sounds tasty. Its distance to the galactic central, or black hole in its center, is about 27,000 light-years, sitting in an area of the outer spiral arm, Orion. In total, the Milky Way galaxy is about 100,000 light-years side to side. Even further out, the Milky Way's nearest and biggest neighbor is the Andromeda galaxy, and a little further after that is the Triangulum galaxy. But information says that there's around 54 other galaxies within this local group. And even further out from that again, you can see that it's part of a cluster named Virgo. Which brings me to the end of this log. It gives you a basic idea of where I am, so, it should be fairly simple to come and get me, or, just send me some food. Bobot's cooking is, although creative, doesn't really help. Like, anything. It's literally just oil and shards of metal. I found some stuff here called tomato ketchup, which kinda helps take the taste of blood away, but it's not ideal. Anywho, I've been Blue Dude, and I still am. God, I hate these sign-offs. Never sure what to say. Ba-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Blue Dude. Yeah.